Good morning, ARBC family, friends, and community. I get asked a lot, what is my favorite verse in the Bible? That's a really hard question. Of all the goodness there in the entire Bible, it's hard to choose which one. I can talk about my favorite Bible stories all day long. That's so much easier. Just ask my child how much I bring up the story of Esther. There have been, however, many times over the past 15 years of my life that I have found myself meditating on one particular verse. I'm drawn to it during tough times especially. As I sat preparing for yesterday's middle school and high school lessons, the material for each just happened to mention that very same verse that I come back to time and time again when I am feeling vulnerable or scared or unbearably sad. After coming across it yesterday, once again, I found it fitting to share with you today. Isaiah 43:2. When you go through the waters, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burned up. The flames will not consume you. When my family and I experienced great heartache years ago, I clung to those verses. When I lived in Colombia and the houses around us flooded and almost everywhere we looked was utter devastation, I repeated those verses in my head like a mantra, over and over again. I've gone back to them time and again, and these past 6 weeks or so have been no exception. Hardships, change, frightening events happen throughout our lives. God not only does not say that they will not happen, but that they will in fact occur. We want so desperately to fix things when they happen, or even to just know that God will fix them in the way that we want them to be. But that's not a promise that God makes to us. This verse says, when you go through the waters, when you go through rivers of difficulty, when you walk through the fires of oppression. The tough stuff is going to happen. Here's the beautiful thing, the good part of these verses. We aren't alone in hardship, but when these things happen, God is with us. That's the answer to each portion of this passage. We will not be left alone in the midst of chaos and change. God is here. God is in all of this, working and bringing goodness out of even the scariest and weirdest of times. God shows God's self to us in so many ways, but most definitely in the people of God who are walking along this journey with us and finding new and innovative ways to encourage one another. Matt named it last week that you all are an encouragement to him, and I echo that response in my own life. You've been the very presence of God, helping me to keep my head afloat in uncertain waters in so many ways. Even in isolation, our church is finding ways to draw closer to one another. Through encouragement, prayer, studies, calls, texts, we've shown up together, drawn together by a loving God who shows us how to love one another more selflessly. We are not alone, even when sometimes it feels like we are. We are part of the family of God and perhaps are learning ways to better love God and to be more fully present with our church family and our neighbors through all of this. That's something positive and life-changing that I hope to carry with me for the rest of my days. Tuck it deep inside my heart like Isaiah 43:2 and draw on it often. May we give thanks to God for walking with us through these waters and find ways to live changed lives because of it. I hope you all have a wonderful week and feel the love of God and others in restorative and meaningful ways.